All right, happy Friday, everyone. Yeah. We got all sorts of stuff going on. Do we not? You're talking about some economic whiplash, little market mayhem, earnings, economic news, lions, tigers, bulls, bears. Oh my, we're going to get into that today. Also want to talk briefly. It's kind of and I've talked about this before here on the program, but I think I touch on it, hit it a little bit more today. That the problem that we have here in this country with tax subsidies and handouts and giveaways and corporate welfare. Nothing more than I hate. I hate corporate welfare. I don't like it when the government picks and chooses winners and losers. And we're going to talk about that Micron plant that's going up in Syracuse, New York. And also, how come AOC's not upset about that? We'll get into that. And it's also it's kind of like a free-for-all Friday. Got a litany of stories we're going to get through towards the end of the program today. So, all right. What should we do first? Should we do Amazon? Should we do Apple, Intel? Well, oil companies. Oil companies are doing so well. It's gonna harken back to the Bush administration years where I remember Bill O'Reilly on his program because he's looking out for the folks. I'm Bill O'Reilly. I'm looking out for the folks. Sure you were, Bill. And talking about windfall profits tax. It's coming. Mark my words. President's already calling out energy companies, and you got to lower oil prices. They can't freaking lower oil prices. It's a global market. Again, I know that what the president says this stuff because he's reaching out to idiots, which is his base, because they believe this bullshit. They don't control global oil prices. If they did, why would they allow the price of oil to go to zero? It went to zero during COVID. Anyway, so all right, earnings. Amazon comes in, and the numbers weren't bad. Obviously seeing slowing growth due to the economy. Their guidance for the fourth quarter was kind of up in the air. And the stock's taking its licking today. I think it's a bit overdone. My opinion, I think it's a bit overdone. And we're going to be talking about this weekend on the program. Good entry points for many companies. Now, this is where real money is made. The real money is not made during bull markets. The real money is made during bear markets. Trust me on this one. Apple still doing a great job of meeting its numbers. They do say that they have some supply chain issues. They, thinking that the fourth quarter, they're kind of being cagey about the entire thing, but I get it. I get it. And, I've talked about this before. I hate guidance. I really do. But again, it's for consumption. It's for TV. It's to make this more interesting. I mean, it'd be difficult to have all these 24-hour business networks out there without all of these things to go over and guidance and what this one said and what that one said. Shouldn't the CEOs of the company just be working on making their company better, except trying to guess what's going to happen over the next 3 months? I mean, obviously they plan and they have an idea on how things are going to go, but to me, it's just a waste. It is. Now, you buying a company for the next 3 months? Is that your decision process? Is you whether or not you're going to, hold on to Apple or Amazon over the next 3 months based upon that guidance? Listen, that's traders. It's one thing, but investors, it's a hell of a lot different. And quite frankly, I don't care. I don't care about the guidance for the fourth quarter. I care about where the company's going to be 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 years down the road. And that's what should concern you. Now, should I even get into Intel? Intel widely held, and again, it's paying a hell of a dividend at this point in time. But again, it's a company that has other issues as well. But again, they beat numbers. They beat numbers, and that stock's been beaten down a hell of a lot. Anyway, economic news. You had some inflation numbers come out, and inflation is starting to wane. We knew this. I think the big number today was that pending home sales fell 10% in September. Fell 10% in September. What did you think was going to happen? And the Fed is looking at numbers that are in the rear view mirror, and I don't know why they do this. We don't. It's the whole, lying eyes principle. We all know what's going on out there. We all understand that mortgage rates have gone through the roof, and it's going to drive real estate down. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest unless the entire real estate market, and again, there's pockets here and there in this country. It's how real estate works. But as a whole, dropping anywhere 18, 20% over the next 6 to 9 months. Told you this. And that's most certainly deflationary to some degree. More of the market mayhem. I batted around this yesterday, and I said, you know what? I'm going to let it go. I said, I'm not going to talk about the Jim Cramer almost crying on set yesterday. He dropped the F-bomb too. They beeped it out. And it was in regards to his call on Meta this past June. And how he said this thing was awesome. And I remember watching it. I didn't watch the entire interview with him and Zuckerberg. I watched bits and pieces of it, and I did watch on their show. I don't even know what their show was called. Right after Squawk Box on CNBC in the morning, but he was going back and forth with David Faber, and Faber's like, I don't get it. David Faber was doing the Tom Hanks character in the movie Big. So I don't get it. I don't understand this whole, and he was saying how ridiculous the whole Facebook goggles looked on the head, and Kramer's talking about, this is great, and it's better than Zoom, and while you're wearing the goggles, you can be in a meeting, and you can actually whisper to the people that are next to you. I'm like, what? And, he's touting this thing, and I believe in what Zuckerberg's doing, all this stuff, and I'm like, I don't get it either. I don't get it either. And we talked about it here on the program. I understand that there's some unbelievable uses for what they are doing. And I think that they should focus on that. And, Jim melted down yesterday. And I don't know what to tell you, people. I don't. The thing is that, he's a television personality, and he has access. And again, these people, they like having access to CEOs. He wants to have these people on his show. I remember him, how many CEOs he brought on the program and just absolutely kissed their ass. Remember, what's her name there? Elizabeth Holmes from Theranos. Who's now, she's trying to get out of going to jail at this point in time. But anyway, it's not your job. Your job is not to be buddies with them. You get it? Your job is not to be buddies with these CEOs. And he loves name dropping too. He pissed me off this morning. That story about Nancy Pelosi's husband being violently attacked in his home. And, I know Paul. I like Paul. He's a great guy. Just shut up, Jim. One of my favorite Cameron Crowe films, Almost Famous. There's the part in the movie it was played unbelievable. It was the rock journalist, I think from Cream magazine, or I don't know if it was freelance, and he was teaching the kid in the film about you're going to go on the road with this band, and he's like, they're going to try to ply you with alcohol and girls and drugs, and you need to understand that they are the enemy. And what he meant by that is that, you have to tell the truth. That's your job as a journalist. And sometimes, I know you're buddies with them. You like to have these people on your show, but I mean, honestly, I'm looking at that thing and you're basically, kissing Zuckerberg's ass. And the type of money that they're spending on this and the cash burn. How did you not see that being somewhat dangerous, especially when the guy's accountable to nobody with the super voting shares that he has? You don't see any danger in that? Anyway, not the first time, Jim, and it won't be the last. Do you remember Jim telling everybody about Bear Stearns? Bear Stearns, a few days before the entire thing collapsed. Bear Stearns not going anywhere. Or was it Lehman Brothers? I think it was probably both of them. Yeah, they're not going anywhere. They're great. I got buddies. I got friends. I know these guys. Sure you do, Jim. That's great. It's great. But your job supposedly is to be looking out for investors, which means you should probably be much tougher on these people. How as I can see right through their BS. You can't. And also, not going after all the heads of these major banks and what took place during the dot-com run-up or the Great Recession. It's pathetic that you don't hold these people accountable. And then I remember during the whole Great Recession, financial panic, they have him on as the expert on the Today Show. And basically telling everybody that, if you don't need your money, if you're going to need your money within the next 10 years, you better get out of the market. Do you understand how irresponsible that is? Do you understand? I honestly, at some point, I think he's responsible for losing more money. If you listen to him, of course. One thing about most, not all, but most financial journalism, business journalism out there, it's entertainment programming. You need to get your arms around that. You need to equate a lot of it, not all of it. Okay, there are some good ones out there. There really are. On CNBC, on Fox Business, there's some that really do a good job. But you've got to be able to discern which ones are the entertainment shows. Okay? If you're listening to Jim Cramer, it's like listening to the guys on, Sunday morning football on Fox and them giving you your picks. It's for entertainment. That's all it is. Anyway, Americans now believe they need 20% more to retire versus a year ago. What does that tell you about the overall state of the economy, kids? I honestly, what does that tell you about the economy's great. Yeah, but I got to need 20% more in order to stop working. I honestly, if there's not a landslide in 2 weeks, I don't know what's wrong with people. I really don't. Rising prices and market volatility over the past year have caused Americans to reassess how much they will need to save for retirement, and it's a whole lot more than what they thought they needed in 2021. 20% more. That's what Americans think they need. Last year it was a million. That's actually a little more. 1.25 Americans think they need now to retire. That's the reality, people. That's what inflation does. One more quick story I wanted to touch on. And I go after Bitcoin. This is just an amazing statistic. There's calculations that are being done. And it's actually done. These are people that are actually in the crypto industry. And they're actually admitting that a new crypto scam launches every 4 minutes. Every 4 minutes, there is another crypto scam launches. Anyway, listen, people, all the information we're giving to you here, you need to understand you need to understand that all of these things that we're talking about, okay, all these, you want to call them storms, you want to call them whatever you want. And we talk about in our personal CFO program, navigating financial storms. That's what we've been able to do. And the importance of understanding that this is where real money is made if you're smart. So again, okay, get to our website, sign up for our personal CFO program, see what we do, see what we've been doing for our clients the past few decades and how it's worked out. Get there, watchdogonwallstreet.com. All right, let's get into this. Biden's in Syracuse yesterday, and they're touting this Micron technology plant. This big plant's going on. I guess their $10 billion investment, but a lot of that investment is an investment by you and I, the public, because it's through the CHIPS Act. Now, Biden was there, and he every day goes by, he reminds me more and more of Abe Simpson. More and more of Abe Simpson. He's just shouting things out. You know, old man gets angry at cloud. The stuff that comes out of his mouth. What did he say yesterday? It was when he took office, gasoline was at $5 a gallon, and he brought it down. Again, like Abe Simpson, you can't really get mad at him because I don't think he knows. I give you the president of the United States. I don't think he knows. He just says shit. And more often than not, and it's becoming a more, more of an occurrence on greater occasions, he just mouths off and says stupid crap. I mean, it's hard to get your arms around. They're talking about, how airplanes are making their seats smaller and how that's terrible for African Americans. What? What did you just say? Again, you don't want Abe Simpson as president of the United States, for crying out loud. People see this stuff. You go up there and you say these things and they make no sense. And they get called out. Even the Washington Post has to fact check them. Anyway, you know what? I'll end that there. So they're touting this chip plant. And it's funny. It was funny. You haven't heard from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the other politicians who helped kill. Remember, Amazon wanted to build this headquarters in Queens, New York. Now, the Micron plant in Syracuse is going to employ 9,000 workers. Amazon, the headquarters that they were proposing in Queens, was going to be 25,000 workers, not to mention, revitalizing that area. I had problems with both deals. Like I said, I'm an equal opportunity basher, and I'm honest. AOC had a point. And that giving tax subsidies to corporations is not right. It's not fair. Well, okay, why are you not getting upset? I know Trump was in office when AOC was getting angry with Amazon, but now Biden's in office. You're not upset with this CHIPS Act, and you're handing money out to corporations and giving them tax subsidies to reside in certain places. I mentioned this before. If you honestly think that this Micron plant would be going up in Syracuse, New York, and upstate New York, if it wasn't for taxpayer dollars and tax subsidies, you're crazy. There's no way they would go there. Not a chance in hell. Chuck Schumer helped get the CHIPS Act through. He gave the money. Basically, he's like, here you go, Micron. I'll give you billions of dollars. It's not my billions of dollars. It's taxpayer dollars, but you have to put the plant in New York, upstate New York. Unfortunately, people, this is how business is done today in the United States, and it's wrong. Tax law should be the same for everybody. There shouldn't be some politician or some bill written or saying, I do declare and do decree, you don't have to pay. Everybody else in central New York. The family I worked for was going to college up there. Restaurants and real estate. They pay their taxes. And they've been there for generations, and they've been paying their taxes for generations. Okay, I get it. Oh, it's good for the area. Well, you know what? The problem with these types of things is it doesn't force the hand of states that are doing it wrong. It doesn't force their hand. Most major corporations that are in blue states are getting some sort of deal. They're getting some sort of deal. More often than not. I'm not saying all, but most are. Most are. Because the CEOs of those companies are going to say to themselves, well, you know what? I have a fiduciary duty to my shareholder to cut costs. And I could set up shop. I can move, say I'm CEO of Morgan Stanley. Hell of a lot cheaper to operate down in Florida. Now, granted, a lot of these investment banks and big banks have already been opening up offices in other areas. But they move to these areas based upon taxes. How many Third Avenue? There used to be tons of money management firms. Some of them moving to Nashville. Some of them moving to other places. Lower cost of living, lower taxes. These businesses stay in New York because they get a deal. They get a deal. And again, is that right? Is that fair? Are we not supposed to be equal under the law here in this country? Yeah, we're supposed to, but we're not. Not. Again, that would be one of my platform issues. It would be. It would be one of my platform issues. I would make that practice illegal. You have to. It needs to be made illegal. You shouldn't be where you're going to say, you know what, you have to pay taxes, but this one over here doesn't have to pay taxes. Isn't that authoritarian? Isn't that fascist in nature? I think so. Anyway, let's do our little bit of Friday free-for-all here. Quick hits and some stories. White House seeking funding for domestic uranium strategy. Gee whiz, they're waking up. They're waking up at this point in time. I know all of their EV dreams and all of their windmills and solar dreams. What have we been saying all along? The answer is right in front of you. You put up nuclear power plants. And again, we rely upon 50% of our uranium that we need to utilize, not just for power plants. We're talking about military, talking about submarines and aircraft carriers and the like. We get from Russia, I think, where else? Russia, Uzbekistan, and Kazakhstan. So now we're going to actually try to get some on our own here, domestic supplies. Nifty idea. Again, you have a carbon-free energy source. The technology keeps getting better and better and better. Why not invest all of the money that you're wasting on things that just don't work, that you're subsidizing? Why not head in this direction? Why not make it easier? Get the permitting process going. These small modular plants, they don't look like, Simpsons reference again. They don't look like Springfield from The Simpsons. They don't have the huge towers. Anyway, maybe where they're starting to wake up. They're going to have to. I got a kick out of this. Again, European Union, they have to subsidize people's energy bills. They're worried about this winter, rolling blackouts. Yet they do declare and decree that they're going to ban the sale of gas-powered cars beginning in 2035. That's nice. That's cute. I mean, you can declare and decree that, and you know what it means? Nothing. Nothing, because if they're not capable of doing that by 2035, it's obviously not going to go into effect. That's all it is. They adopt to ban. It's like me coming out and saying, you know what, we're going to make sure all cars here in the United States by 2035 need to fly. Or, I want my a Dr. Evil. All I ask for is sharks with freaking laser beams attached to it. I mean, you can say all of these things. It's nice. It's cute. Look, you got your name in the paper. You can be applauded and patted on the back at the next cocktail party. But unless your grid is ready, unless there's some overwhelming supply of lithium that is you're able to dig up and refine, how's that? How's this plan on working, guys? How do you plan on making this happen? Again, classic South Park underwear gnomes. Not familiar? Got to watch it. Great bit on capitalism. Underwear gnomes business plan. First, collect kids' underpants. Second, question mark. Third, profit. That's their business plan. What? Explain to me how you're going to plan that. What is the question mark there? European Union. How are you going to get from here to here? Just show me how. Show me your work. There is nothing. Again, they're politicians. They don't worry about the question mark. Okay? Guys are no concern to them. They're too busy at the cocktail parties. Dan Crenshaw, Wall Street Journal today. Midterms time for choosing for Republicans. And he echoed Ronald Reagan's speech. What was it? 1964? 1964, I think, that he gave, talking about it's time for choosing in this country. And Crenshaw makes a point. Yeah, we're still grappling with who we are here in the United States. I most certainly think that that's the case. He talks about conservatives and how they're attacking one another and going off into different sects, and I'm MAGA this and I'm that, or whatever it may be. And he also, going off on some of the people that just like the drama and raising money. And I agree with Crenshaw on many of his points. And it actually took me back. Took me back to when the Tea Party was first started. Again, you got to thank Rick Santelli from CNBC. He kind of kicked that thing off with a rant. But, taxed enough already. Now, it didn't take long. Oh, my God. They're all racist and hate black people. Remember Janine Garofalo and Keith Olbermann on their program. It's all about their hatred and their brains aren't right and all this bullshit. Anyway, so there was massive Tea Party rallies, and I spoke at one, and it was, I think it's on my YouTube page. You can go and you can take a look at it. But anyway, what happened? Well, people wanted to make money off it. I mean, the original Tea Party politicians weren't even allowed. They weren't allowed to go. They didn't want any part of them. And I reserved most of my fire for Republicans in my Tea Party speech. And same way I do now, promising this, that, the next thing, and not delivering on it. But again, the whole Tea Party, then it became about money and power. And it's, again, you see a lot of that right now. We're basically, for conservatives right now, what's happening in this country and the pushback and what the woke crap and the stuff that they're doing in schools. You got people that have been lifelong Democrats that are like, what the flip are they doing? They're letting people out of jail and all the bail reform and all of this stuff. So you've got the ball, you're first in goal. And not even a 1 yard line, the half-yard line. But again, I don't know. Leave it to Republicans. Leave it to Republicans to screw it up. Anyway, I hope it's not the case. I'm not a member of the Republican Party. I'm looking for quality individuals. I'm looking for conservatives, people that believe in the rule of law, the Constitution. These are people that I want in office. More often than not, they tend to be in the Republican Party. But not always. All right. Oh, gee, shocker here. COVID pandemic was most likely the result of a lab leak, according to a new bombshell Senate report. In other news, sky is blue, water is wet. Come on. The whole concept, how they rejected the entire notion from the beginning, just discarded it. No! And all these scientists coming out. No, it came from a wet market that just so happens to be 8 miles from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Come on. Stop insulting my intelligence, please. But people believed it. Yeah, mainstream media. Oh my God. Yeah, you get banned from Twitter. Not anymore. Yeah, you'd get banned for Twitter if you actually questioned any of these things. Anyway, a good question here. It's John Ratcliffe and Cliff Sims asked the question today in the Wall Street Journal. I'm going to ask you, how do drag shows advance U.S. national security? Yes, my friends, our tax dollars. Every single time I write that, next time you cut that check, next time you're cutting that check to the government, I want you to think about the drag show that you're helping to pay for in Ecuador because we're trying to showcase American values. I'm not bullshitting you. We're doing this. Yeah, our State Department. That's part of we want to promote American values. Yeah, why don't you put on a drag show in Saudi Arabia, see how that works out for you? No. Our values should be the rule of law and the ability to rise up and all of these things that have been our traditional values. You don't ship off drag shows. But again, what are American values? They always want to promote American culture. Be hard to argue that there hasn't been a bit of a decline, to say the least. I do happen to believe that. Again, subsidies, handouts, bad art, the crap that they're making in Hollywood, woke agenda. I mean, all this stuff. Does really want to export this? Huh? Do you really think that this is going to help? The Ecuadorians are going to think very highly of the United States because we sent down a drag show. Said, congratulations, taxpayers. You paid for it. One more here, and I gotta whisper this. Gotta be careful. When I get my brothers worried. I criticize the Securities and Exchange Commission because they regulate us. And we do everything and anything that we can. We follow the rules, pay our bills and fees and insurance and all the crap that they make us do, dot the I's, cross the T's. But the reality of the situation is we do the right thing by our clients. Even with that being said, if they want to get a bug up their buttocks and, you didn't file that piece of paperwork properly, pay this fine. I mean, they can do that. They're judge, jury, and executioner. But editorial board, Wall Street Journal, kind of going after the SEC for what they've been up to. And it had to do with the SEC Office of Inspector General gave a review and talks about the focus of the SEC not being on protecting investors, but their whole other agenda items, ESG crap. And I've talked about this before. You look to these agencies that they're not cops. They're not cops. They don't stop things. They never have. They're more like CSI. They come in after the fact. But, I mentioned earlier, we got a crypto scam every 4 minutes that's out there. I see all the ripoffs and scams that happen in markets all over the country on a regular basis. I don't know. Could be me. Call me crazy. Isn't that more important than making sure that some companies making sure that their pronouns are correct, or I mean the BS is that they get involved with right now. I don't know, just saying. Anyway, have a wonderful weekend, everybody. WatchDogOnWallStreet.com, our site, WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. We always welcome you to become a part of our family. Podcast, newsletter, personal CFO program, you name it. WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. We'll see you.